Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so um, Kyrie is pretty much gone above and beyond, according to league sources, whatever that means. I don't know. I was listening to Ticket TV just now, and he reported on the situation, showed us an excerpt of a official report on it, and essentially that's what they were wording it as: above and beyond, to help, uh, you know, meet with more than enough leaders and people that they've asked him to meet with. And I was listening to well, not listening to, but reading the comments, and people were kind of looking at it a certain way. They were like, "Nah, we don't believe it. That's cap. We don't believe that. Um, we don't think that he's actually gone above and beyond. They're just trying to otherwise um, provide some type of back away from what it is that they've been doing, which is smearing the man. Now they're saying, okay, we've gained victory, is what Ticket was saying. That's essentially what they're saying. We're putting we're putting our flag here, saying we've tamed Kyrie. We got him. He's done everything we wanted him to do, and now he's what we want him to be from us. So, it's one of them situations where it's like, all right, from my understanding, um, I think he did the right thing. From what it is that my point of view is in the room from which I sit in, this is the only way to play it if you're Kyrie Irving. You got to meet with everybody they ask you to meet with, and you got to give them absolutely no reason to smear you, because that's what they're trying to do. So you got to make sure that everything that they got is lies. You can't give them nothing. We always talk about feeding our enemies ammos. That's what you don't want to do. It's absolutely what you don't want to do. You want to make sure that you are at peace at all times in this situation, because the object of the game is to get back on the court if you're Kyrie Irving, and to end this madness and to get yourself as far away from all of these different things that are going on right now as possible, so you can get back in the game of life as you know it, which is a basketball player who's trying to become a free agent at the end of the season. So that's still the objective. And the only way to do that is to play ball with these guys. You got to get free from under the clutches of Joe Tsai and the circumstances from which he is right now. And the only way to do that is, in the short term, to play ball with these dudes, or throw a fit, and as to which your career is pretty much over. Now, I could argue his career is really in jeopardy either way, because they're probably going to try everything they can to close doors for him going forward. But I think his talent will bleed through and make that impossible for them. That's just the reality of it. He's too talented for that. So, as long as he's able to play ball, you look silly for not wanting him on your team. And I think there are enough teams in this league that believe that, just like I do. So he'll be given another opportunity. I think, all in all, I have to see where Kyrie's mind is at this point. Where does he feel about where he's at in regards to what's been going on? That'll determine how to feel for him. But from where I'm sitting, he should be very proud of himself. He stood up for himself. He stood up for what he believed in. He initially posted something that he thought was going to help some people. It did. It did way more than that. It liberated my mind in regards to my heritage and what I'm about. Never mind, you know what I mean? If it didn't do nothing for nobody else, it did something for me, so I take it. And in the process, they tried to put him through hell, which they always do when you try to liberate a black mind. And it's like, how sad. We're still going through this in 2022, and there's so many black minds that have already been awakened. It's like they really thought they could do this while there's so many of us who were already awake. Hello. Some of us woke up a long time ago and have been awake for a long time. And so it's like, you think you're going to do this at this point? Nah. Without any resistance? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We're going to look at you as crazy as we should look at you for buck breaking and treating people this way in 2022. Where everybody is so virtuous about how we're supposed to love different groups and respect certain things. I'm being taught I have to love certain things, but you're not showing love when across the board. I'm not seeing the consistency where it needs to be applied here. And the hypocrisy of it all. Excuse me. It can't be this obvious. And that's my thing. Is like, clearly it can't be this obvious to where you're neglecting people's feelings for another person's people's feelings and completely not acknowledging that that is the case on all platforms. It's like, come on, man. And then you got people who we know in our various communities speaking a certain way that doesn't reflect who they are in these communities. It's like, we know that they don't speak for you. They are speaking for you, rather, from behind the curtain. And we're not going to continue to act as if our lives or our opinions or what have you doesn't matter. And Kyrie is an example of where they've enforced said thing, that we don't matter. Like, oh, Kyrie has this opinion. It vibes against something code, so now we gotta come down on him with the wrath of 1,000 men. It's like, no, this is hypocrisy. You don't treat everybody this way, and we're gonna acknowledge it in real time for everybody to see it, and we're gonna leave it here for the world to see forever in these various videos. They did him wrong, and look how racist it was. Look how ridiculous it was. Look how they were acting like they were showing love to one people when they were really just pointing a light on it and shedding a light on their circumstances and making it so that people would question them anyways. Like, how much love did they really show anybody in this? Not even themselves, because now we're looking at them crazy. That didn't do nothing. It was nothing but bad all the way around, except for where Kyrie Irving actually posted something that liberated the mind of someone like myself to feel a lot better about himself. It's the only good it really did, was the initial good it was supposed to do. Evil started stirring up evil, and then evil did all kinds of evil stuff. They started talking about how evil is this and evil is that, and they were just being evil, and we were all watching them be evil. And now they're saying, oh, okay, well, we're satisfied. And it's like, it was never nothing for you to be satisfied about. All of this was about us seeing you as what you are. You were never in control. This wasn't even about you. let alone for you to determine what happens. So as this continues to unfold, I just say congratulations, Kyrie. For me to say I'm proud of you, that's too small of a statement. One man's pride of a circumstance. No, this is bigger than that. This is about you doing what it is that you're supposed to do, in the time that you put on this earth. Shine the light on different things that just meant to be shined a light on, straight up. And how people are going to deliberately treat you poorly for doing so, just like they've done so many times before. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why it was put on my heart to pray for you before this even began. That's why it was put on my heart to pray for Ye before this even began, because that was coming down the pipeline for y'all. Somehow I was able to tap into it, I imagine. But that's the truth, man. This is ridiculous what they're trying to do to both of these guys. In the name of what? Faith? You think it's your job to punish people in the name of God? Exactly. Protecting people of God. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that. So you feel it's your job to punish him for seeking out his heritage and finding something. And then finding that he wanted to share with his people. And that's your job to tell him no, because what they found there is supposed to be disrespectful for some other people. So those people's opinions and their feelings matter more than his people's. See what I'm saying? That's the hypocrisy I'm referring to. It's like, that you can't make that make sense to a bunch of people who are looking at you. We're watching. They're staring dead at you. Like, what are you talking about? It looks funny to us. It's not a hypocrisy we're actually hypnotized by, like maybe some generations in the past. We're not. No, you look as silly as you are. You're silly. Absolutely silly for that. So, that is exactly what I have to say. I'm happy Kyrie Irving is going to be able to get back on the court, because he should have never been asked to not be on it. If anything, those 5 games probably just kept him healthier. His legs can stay healthy, can stay stronger, gain his peace of mind. You know what I mean? If he's as spiritually inclined as I believe he is, he's probably not even fazed by what they're doing, honestly. They think he's fazed, but you know what I mean? You're in the side of right at the end of the day. That's why I say meet with all of their leaders, Bring your lawyer with you. Bring your own leaders with you. I hope he did bring his peoples with him. I imagine he did. But like, you know what I mean? Meet with whoever they want you to meet with. I think a lot of people, you know, in the black community, those who are looking at this a certain way, they're upset because they don't want to see him capitulate to those people. What they don't understand is that this fight is still very much being fought. Just because he sits down with those people doesn't mean he's now walking away brainwashed, ready to tap dance for them. Absolutely not. It's chess, not checkers. Y'all just gotta sit back and watch the movie unfold. You know what I mean? Just chill, watch. That's what I would say to all those people. Don't get too quick. That's what we do with Kanye all the time. You get so quick. You're so quick to react to what he does, and then you're like, oh, so that's what he meant. Oh, okay. It's like after a million times, just wait. Just wait to see what he's actually trying to say when he does the next stunt that is destined to take place. Because I guarantee there's a deeper meaning to whatever it is that your mind gonna tell you it is. Trust me on that. So that's in regards to Kanye. But as far as Kyrie's concerned, hey, he's gonna get back on the court. He's gonna do what he does, man. Hopefully, you stay healthy. That's simply it. Stay healthy, brother. Do what it is that you do to the best of your ability. Do not let these people who have tarnished your name change your energy. They don't have that control. The source has control over that. You know what I mean? So, hey, it was his direction that pointed me into talking like this. If y'all follow me, I wasn't even talking like this till I started watching the movie, and then started really connecting in a different way to where I start feeling more confident to speak this way. Because for me, I didn't want to speak spiritually because my thing is like I don't want to isolate people away from, you know, their religious ways. Maybe your religion would make it so that if I speak about my religion, you'll feel like you're isolated away from me. But when you say the word the source, that's everybody's praying to the source, however they call him, whatever his name is. You're talking to the same guy I'm referring to. You feel me? That's what the point is. The source of all things great. So it allows other people's religions to come on in, and that's what it's about. So now I feel more comfortable speaking that way because it allows those who may not pray like me to feel more inclusive. You know what I mean? I can include more people, and that's what I want to do, not isolate like religion tends to do. Because we all have to deal with the spirit one way or another, whether we believe we have one or not, and we'll soon know. And that's the thing. For those of us who are spiritually inclined, we just gotta kind of help those who are spiritually, with respect, blind. I think all of us have our own strengths and weaknesses and ways that we fit in this world as our piece, as it pertains to being a puzzle piece. You gotta fit a certain way. So some of us are spiritually inclined, other of us are meant to have no spiritual energy at all, and so we fit where we need to fit as we need to be. So I think a lot of people are looking at each other and saying, yeah, you're not spiritually inclined, you're a freaking weirdo, as opposed to saying, yeah, I'm gonna let you be because you're exactly who you need to be, and I'm gonna find a way to be who I need to be while you're who you need to be, so we can both fit together and be the difference we need to be. And so that's what it is in my mind. It's like, even though that's not necessarily the walk I've understood, and the opinions have not necessarily aligned with that all the time, that's the enlightenment from which I want to work from here. And so unlearning everything from the past is the key, and maybe I live long enough to figure it out. But the point is, that's the peace I'm looking to find, and from which to walk and work with others. So that's what I'm saying, man. That's what all this is doing to me, bringing me to a space of peace. And so while they're sitting up here saying he's anti this, he's anti that, and it's just, okay, well, you say so, buddy. But for all that you're doing, I really don't see any trouble but the trouble you're stirring up. If not for that, we wouldn't even know there was anything posted, and nobody would have stirred up any trouble. None. I don't think there would have been a single soul that sit up here and say, Kyrie, I can't believe you posted that. And if they did, I don't think they would have took it all the way to David Stern and asked him to raise hell about it. No. They saw it from behind the curtain somehow because they were probably monitoring every damn thing that Kyrie was posting, waiting for something that they could look up that would be just that egregious enough so that they could strike again against him for that damn vaccine situation. Looking for an opportunity, and they found one. And we all know it. And it's like, again, we can see you. It's always amazing to me how people act like the stuff that they're doing is stuff that they can do. Like, no, you cannot get away with that. You are literally doing stuff that you are totally about to get scolded for. And it's like they just do it. I was thinking about a friend of mine today. I'll make this a therapy session since I'm rambling on, but I was thinking about a friend of mine today who I worked with. I'm not going to name him by name. I got respect for him, but I think the whole purpose of the man coming into my life is for me to see how the way he was doing things a certain way, which I felt was the wrong way, and I felt because it's important, because whatever's right is right, but he was just kind of doing things that are going to bring a certain type of energy to him, and it's like, that's unwanted energy for people who want to extend their life. Essentially what I'm saying. If you're trying to live and you want to live fruitful, you don't take the path that he was taking and some of the stuff he was doing. And he was none the wiser at all, but my man was like 30 or almost 30 years older than me. So I'm watching my guy, and every week he comes and talks to me about whatever he's up to in his life. And at the time, I'm also dealing with not living the right way, you know what I mean? As I mentioned in the previous therapy session, I was struggling with my own self. So I'm like, do I change? Do I want to make the right changes so I can live the right way? Or is it worth it to make the sacrifices to make the change? At that time, I'm like, I don't know. I kind of like living the way I want to live. And I'm watching him do this, living the way he want to live, knowing that it's not necessarily going to work out for most people if they do it his way. And so I'm like, all right, let's see how this plans out. Every week he comes back and tells me how it plays out with this particular situation. I'm not going to get into specifics. It doesn't matter. The point is, as the weeks progress, he's telling me how it's working out. It's working out. And I'm like, all right. And all right. Every week. And then eventually at the end of the situation, he tells me the consequences of how it played out. And the understanding is that, wow, even though I only know this person for a couple of months, throughout the purpose of all of this, I'm able to see how his choices ultimately led to the worst of things. Because that's exactly what ended up happening. It just ended up going really bad for the man because of that specific thing that he kept coming back telling me about. It was that thing that led him to a very bad place. And I ended up leaving the job after learning about how the outcome was going to go. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, it was like, wow, that's like an imprint in my life that will never go away. I saw him do the bad thing, and I saw it go the way it went, and then I saw him go away. And it's like, yo, I can always refer back to my guy there without ever telling a soul what it is that I know about his business, to say, I watched the person live wrong, and I watched them go a certain way. And it scared me enough to change my ways. I'm like, yeah, nah, I want to live right now. God, let me figure out how I can discipline myself to do the dirty work, to get my mind right, to clean myself up, to get myself into a space where I know my spirit ain't clogged with that burden. I know my mind ain't on some other stuff that would otherwise make me say sorry to God. Now I can just say, you know what? Hey, man, I'm living right. I mean, I made a few mistakes, but yeah, I don't want to see my life go that route. I don't want to see what I've been doing the wrong way end up that way. You know what I'm saying? You got to know what you're doing is either right or wrong, and live accordingly. You know, that's what I've come to understand, or it's gonna go exactly the way it should not. You know what I mean? And so as I look at that and I try to parallel it back to what we've been talking about, I say the same thing about the guys that in the conversation, Kanye West and Kyrie Irving. You gotta, everybody's gonna tell you to fight a fight with fire. Fight, go in there and be demonstrative about letting go of your career. Just retire and walk away from the Nets, nah. Because then they won for real. Then all the stuff that they've said about you, they can walk around and say, see, and that's justified with him never playing again, and therefore, what has happened here is they have completely bullied this man, stomped all over him in a way that we could clearly see was wrong. The last thing he needs to do is make it so that anything they're talking about is justified. Because up until this point, it hasn't been. So once he starts denying them the process of going through it, like, nah, I ain't about to say sorry, nah, I ain't meeting with nobody, nah. Once you start doing that, it's like, see, he's defiant. He's not even going through the proper stuff. This is how defiant he's been the whole time. And you know what else? Lie. And you're gonna believe that crap too. But if he goes in there and plays monk, cool, calm, collected, spiritual energy of the highest frequency, I'm just here to be loving and listen and learn and share, like he's been the whole time. If he'll be on that when he meets with those people, what do they have to say but lies about smearing him? What can they say but, we're satisfied? He did everything. Heck, he went above and beyond. They're going to say it with this look on their face because it's like, damn, we failed. We were hoping he was going to sock one of us in the face or come in here with a gun or something. Didn't work out. We were hoping he was going to come in here with like the Black Panther Party, like a bunch of AK-47s so we can call the cops on everybody and just make this a big old thing. Didn't do that either. Like, these were the things they were hoping he would do. Now, they would satisfy them people in the comment section for sure. It'd satisfy the hell out of them. They'd be like, yeah, we got our brothers with us. And we would have went straight into the same darkness that they send the Black Panthers into and all these other situations that they end up doing when you go up to them with fire and you fight fire with bad energy. You can't beat them with that. Now, you can't turn the other cheek either. That don't necessarily work. But you do have to come in there in a space where you're definitely not giving them no ammo. You ain't about to walk in there acting, showing your backside, and then proceed to think they gonna tell that story that otherwise paints you any other way. Simply put. So I think Kyrie did the right thing. I think he did the only thing he was in a position to do. And whether he's trying to keep his career going or not, the only way to fight this thing is the right way. And that's to do it diplomatically. Do it with peace and do it maintaining your character, the same character that you came with in the first place. They're trying to smear that, but they have no way to smear that if it remains consistent to us. Which is another thing I want to say. The relationship between artists and crowd is important. Whether it be in the room or not. What I mean by that is crowd on whether we're watching on TV or whatever. It's not limited to them being in the room. But just the relationship between the people who are doing the art and the people who consume it is a sacred one. Often disrupted by the middleman, who happens to be the businessman. I tell you the truth, something stands out in my mind. I was watching a little excerpt that I saw on IG. It was a Trippie Redd concert, and all the kids were singing his lyrics because his microphone had ran out. But the whole room had sung every lyric word for word. And even myself in the phone, I knew the song word for word myself. I'm singing it too. But it's like, that's what happens when people actually feel the art for real. It doesn't matter what's going on between the business. They don't care about the business, yo. Trippie Redd could have sold 5,000 copies. He could have sold 500,000 copies of that particular album. But because people eventually heard the song and eventually connected it with that in that way, when they got to the show, they had that type of love for the artist. They had that type of love for the song. They knew it, and it was in their hearts. The business gets in the way of that, because sometimes the music that's made isn't meant to do that to the people, because it's meant to kind of stir up some bullcrap that'll otherwise be an algorithmic type of thing that'll otherwise, quote unquote, work. And this is specific to music. Or if you're talking about some other type of art form, like say basketball, the one we're talking about, you're putting players on the floor for the wrong reasons. You get these jambalayas of basketball players on the floor that don't have nothing to do with putting the best art form on the floor to provide the inspiration for those who are watching the sport versus those who are playing the sport. The inspiration isn't there because the art form isn't properly put together. The business is in the way between the relationship. us and the artist, us and the athlete, us and I just wish the business would get out of the way so that authentic relationship between artists and fan can be as organic as what I saw in that Trippie Redd concert. I want to see that in sports again, and I want to see it in other art forms as well. Because you cannot fake that love. You can't fake the inspiration that comes from watching perfect basketball, that comes from watching perfect played football, that comes from watching perfectly synchronized swimming, or whatever the art form may be. Like literally whatever it is, music, whatever. What I feel when I'm listening to my favorite song in my favorite setting, it don't have nothing to do with the business or how it's presented to me or what the album cover looked like. Or none of those different things that the business tends to put emphasis on at times. So that's just what I'm gonna say, man. If we put the emphasis back into what it is that the specific art forms are, I think the business often falls into place anyway. But once you put the business first, and once you start putting the money first in other aspects, it just waters down the actual art form a good portion of the time, if not all, souring that relationship between artist and fan, whatever it is. It just disappears. Often the fans just lose that touch with that artist because they keep giving us that saturated cookie cutter music instead of giving us what's really in their heart. Even if they're trying stuff that doesn't work, I would rather them try that stuff that doesn't work than to give me that stuff that doesn't hit the spirit. Parallel to basketball, even if the team ain't that great, even if you don't have LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and the highest third star possible on the same team, if you give me a bunch of good players that play hard, I might still end up happy at the end of the season, still end up with a team that I can root for and win the championship with. Those type of things are possible. But if you're constantly just trying to go all in for the championship glory with, just the cookie cutter 3 max contracts, and then do it for the max ratings, do it for the TNT and the ESPNs and the AMs, the B, whatever it's called. It's like no, do it for the love of the art, do it for the sport, get back into it for that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I feel. That's exactly what I'm saying about the situation. Just about every time I get on this camera, I'm thinking something along the lines of something like that when I'm having these conversations about sports. So I wanted to throw that in there, man. Just wanted to throw that in there. Get back to the love of it. I'm seeing in basketball just way too much of that business over basketball nonsense happening. Specifically in Kyrie's situation over there with that specific team, which is why that's so relevant. No, they're focused on the wrong stuff, and it's much has been said about that. So I'm glad he'll be able to get back on the floor. Hopefully that'll be the beginning of the end with him being with that particular franchise. That's what I have to say about that. But then again, as long as he's from behind their paywall, so to speak, they may just hold on to him just to be ornery about it. You know what I mean? I think they are really trying to prove a point with this particular person. And I'm frustrated about it just as much as most of these people are, and I want to see him fight against what it is that he's going up against. Most importantly, I don't want that to be lost in my conversation. He's going to have to stand up for himself. He's just going to have to do it in a chess way, not a checkers way. And that's all I'm saying. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. BDF 44, man. I think that's the end of it. I'll leave that as a therapy session once again, since I got off into a tangent about other things. But, the point remains, man. I think Kyrie should be at peace with himself. I think he should be proud of himself. I think his family should be proud of him. I think they should continue to stay on guard, though. Don't think for a second these folks are looking after his best interests just because he's done these 6 things and are now ready to get back on the court. They're going to look for another reason for him to act up. or another thing to smear, or look for another thing that they're gonna lie about or something, anything, because they got it out for this guy. That's the bottom line. We know it. You know, it is what it is, man. And it's sad because he's a peaceful dude. That's the energy that I gather from him. A disruptor to the to the overall system of things, though. But I don't think it's because he's hateful or because he wants to see people in a space where they're lost and confused. I don't think that. I think he's trying to help people open their minds up. I think he's trying to bring peace to all people in regards to a truth that's long been suppressed. And I think that a lot of people don't believe it as of yet, and that's fine. It's okay to not believe what's out there. It's okay to not believe what's being presented. I think it's okay to have those conversations in earnest. But I think where we get lost is when we try to suppress people for having those conversations about whether or not something's worth talking about, just because we don't believe what's in there is true. You know, there's things in that movie that I still to this very second would love to revisit with someone who's much smarter than me, so they could tell me what it is that I'm looking at is what it is that I see. Because there's a lot of information there. But at the end of the day, it provided so much to where now I walked away with a whole lot of confidence that I have learned what I had not before watching it. And so that is the truth. And they're gonna have to do something about that. And when I say they, I mean those from behind the curtain who are trying to punish and whatever it is that they do. Whatever it is that you do, you're gonna have to react to that because the truth is out now. It's not something that we can suppress or act like we didn't see or any of that. You don't have the Will Smith magic, you know, what they say, the wand that they put in front of your face when they're trying to get you to forget everything. Nah, you ain't gonna be able to do that here. This ain't a Men in Black type of situation, buddy. We saw it. So, that's what I gotta say about that. I thank you all for putting up with BDF 44, and I'm out.